place and kind of what you're going for here.
Well, originally we were going to open the front of this building as the restaurant, but it was not very good shape. So a friend of mine suggested that I use the garage, and then he would use the front for his office. Well, I had a name picked out, and it didn't seem to fit, so it was like Joe's Garage. Yeah. So we went with that. That's a combination of things to come up with that name. So
let's talk about the wings.
Let's talk about the wings.
Tell me about them. For somebody who's never had them before, we haven't had them. Tell me, what do you think it is that makes them, or I guess sets them apart?
Well, what sets us apart is we make all our own sauces. There's nothing that, we just don't walk up to a can and pour it on there and say, hey, here's our wings. We actually make the sauce, and that makes us different than everybody else.
And tell me what kind you make.
Well, it's sad. The guy that owns the place can't even tell you everything. I have to look at a menu.
Okay.
One of my favorites, and it's my own personal recipe, is spicy garlic. Nobody else has anything like that. It's you just have to try it to find out. We have teriyaki, we have Asian, we have Caribbean jerk sauce. We have something we call atomic, which is a little warm. We have Parm garlic. That's most of them.
Yeah. And I assume that you've had a few wings in your day.
I sure have.
So tell me, is
it's
that
research and development.
He's the research department.
That's right.
Well, then you develop what you're going to do based on the research.
But talk about that. You probably take that into account when you've tried them before. You find something that you like, or you steal ideas, whatever.
Well, back in the early 90s, around I'd say 91, I had a restaurant inside the Best Western for a short time, and I was doing wings. It was called Wings and Things, and I was doing wings before there was a B-dubs. I guess you'd say I was on the cutting edge, but the problem was my market was the hot singles going into bebop's didn't want greasy, messy wings all over their fingers, so that didn't go so well. Something I thought would go didn't. They wanted more of the finger foods and things that they weren't so messy. So.
Yeah.
So I had been working on sauces and wings for several years.
Yeah. And, you guys haven't been here that long. You got a lot of nominations. It has to make you feel good that people are noticing this early.
It's great. It's great. We started doing Monday Night Football, and we do 50-cent wings, and people just really liked them. One night we went through anywhere from 450 to 500 wings in, I would say, 2.5, 3 hours. So people like them.
Yeah.
So there's a reason to come down to Joe's. It's worth the trip.
And the other thing I want to touch on too is it's not just wings. You guys do barbecue. Talk a little bit about what you're known for.
Well, what the restaurant is based on is Memphis style barbecue, and which is rub on meat, then it's smoked, and then we have, if you want barbecue sauce, we have barbecue sauce on the side. And I talked to you earlier about putting an asterisk next to the plaques that you've already given out, because once you try our ribeye or our pulled pork or any of our sides, namely macaroni and cheese, you're going to have to say, well, this was before we went to Joe's.
That's perfect. All right. Anything else you want to add that I didn't ask you? Anything you can think of?
We're good.
I hope you're ready for some good wings.